biscuits are so easy to make. All you need is 225 grams of self-raising flour, 150 grams of unsalted butter, 100 grams of caster sugar and 1 beaten egg. So first of all, we will move these out of the way, and we start with the butter, which I have cut into little cubes, and all we have to do is to rub the butter into the flour, and this is exactly the same as when you make pastry. I'll quickly do this. This is the motion this is what I'm doing with the butter to incorporate it into the flour. Once we have a breadcrumb type mixture, then we will add the sugar. Just get all the butter off my fingers. We add the sugar, give it a bit of a stir, incorporate it all. And then we add the egg, which I will beat now. Trying to incorporate the yolk and the white together. Make a little well in the middle. Pour the egg in. And this is when a knife is quite the right thing to use. And we're just going to incorporate this together. Make it into a bit of a dough. And now's the time to get our hand in there. Just bring the dough together. It's a little bit sticky. If it's too sticky, you could always add a little bit of flour. So make sure it's all clumped together, and you can more or less wipe the bowl with your dough. I'll take this off my fingers. Don't want to waste any of it. And the next thing we have to do is to pop this dough in a plastic bag, and then we'll pop it in the fridge for about 30 minutes before we can roll it out. This will make a nice stiff paste because then the butter will harden up and we can cut the cookies out. Our dough has been in the fridge for about 30 minutes. And now we're ready to roll it out already. I just put a bit of flour onto my work surface. Give this a little bit of a knead. Just to get it working. It's quite stiff now, which is perfect. A bit more flour, and we have to roll this to approximately the thickness of maybe a £1 coin. So 2 or 3 mils is absolutely perfect. The dough itself, once it's cut, it will actually rise a little bit and it will spread a little bit. This is because we've been using self-raising flour. So I'll roll this out and then we can decide on the type of cutter. So that's the sort of thickness we've got. I've got several cutters, but I have stars, which are quite nice, and I have just ordinary round cutters. So I'll cut a few of each and then we'll place them onto our baking tray. So before we put them in the oven should be approximately 180 degrees if you have a conventional oven. It should be 170 degrees if you have a fan oven, and about a gas mark 4. So we'll carry on cutting these out. Move this to the side. So just have some baking trays. I've lightly buttered this one, or you can actually just use a bit of baking parchment onto your tray, but whichever, you need to make sure that it is greased in some way, shape or form, otherwise they will stick. So I'm just going to place these on my baking tray, but please make sure that you leave a little space because they will spread. So that's all there is to them. So pop them into your oven and they take between 12 and 15 minutes to bake. They will go a light golden brown colour and then they're ready. Here's our beautiful biscuits. They were cooked in my oven for about 14 minutes. They're a lovely golden colour and they've actually got a really good snap. So they're gorgeous. They're ready to be decorated, or you can just eat them as they are. They're absolutely delicious. There'll be more videos on the Cake Cabinet channel, and we'll be making some decorations to go on the top of these biscuits. But I'll very briefly show you another biscuit that I did, a design. I cut some smaller biscuits and then I cut a hole in the middle, and you can use the end of a piping nozzle or whatever you might have for that size. You could even just stick your finger in if that's all you have. And what I've done, I'm just going to move these to one side and I'll very briefly show you. This is some leftover chocolate ganache and some jam. So all I did was I got the bottom of the one biscuit and I spread some ganache on it, just as you would with butter. It doesn't have to be too thick because it will all ooze out. Okay, that's the one. And the other half, which is the one with the hole in, similarly, I just put some ganache around the underside. Really, again, not too thick. You don't need it too thick. It's quite a thin biscuit, so we don't need too much. Just a coating. So that's the ganache on it. And then I just got a little bit of jam. Pop that on. I just spread it over with a knife. Again, not too much. And then we just pop the top on. And you've got your own jammy dodgers.